Hi guys, I'm now ready for my V2 video I promised a while ago. Sorry it's taken a while, but some things have got in the way. But also I've been doing some upgrades which I've wanted to complete before I make this video. Hopefully it's going to be light enough. It's quite dark outside now, but hopefully with a flashlight on the camera you'll be able to see everything okay. I've also even prepared myself a little script, so hopefully I won't be flicking around so much. I'm going to be going over some of the stuff I've talked about already, but let's just kind of crack on, and hopefully it's a bit more descriptive this time. So the main box on the left, you can see the Dell. It's a Dell Precision 490. It's got two dual Xeon 5140 2.33 GHz Xeon CPUs with a Dell PERC 5i RAID card. That's now got 512 meg of RAM in it. I've just upgraded it from 256. In that box as well, we've got three SATA 250 gig drives. They're both in, or three in RAID 5. There's also now 7 gig of RAM in there. I found two 512 meg sticks in my cupboard, so I just threw those in. And it also only has the regular built-in Broadcom gigabit NIC. It's also a 750 watt PSU. On this box I'm running 2008 R2, and that is supplying AD, DNS, DHCP, print server, file server and DFS. The box on the right is a same model, Precision 490. It's got two dual Xeon 5150s. They're 2.6 gigahertz. Again, this has got a similar PERC 5i RAID card with 512 meg of RAM. Again, just upgraded that from 256. Similar as well, that it's got three SATAs in there which are 250 gigs, and they're in RAID 5. This box now has 14 gig of RAM. It was originally 10, but I had a bit of cash and bought some 2 gig sticks. It's got one built-in Broadcom gig NIC, and it's also got two 2-port Intel gigabit NICs as well. I meant to look it up before I started this video, but I've forgotten what they are now, but I think they're kind of standard ones. Again, with a 750 watt PSU. So on that box I'm running VMware esxi 5.0, and the images I'm running on there is one 2008 R2 server, which is my secondary DNS, secondary AD, secondary DNS, file server, DFS. My UPS is also connected to that via a serial port, and that's currently running with about 3 gig of RAM. Second image is 2008 R2, that's running Exchange 2010. It also has an FTP server. I think it's just a freebie FTP server. And also it's got a McAfee Group Shield email scanner on there. That's running on 4 gig of RAM. Next VM image on there is 2003 32-bit server with running my McAfee EPO server. It's also running a HFS server as well. HFS, if you're not aware, is it's like a HTTP file server, so I can access my data files over HTTP, via a web address, and upload, download, delete, etc. That's running 2.5 gig of RAM. The last image on this box at present is pfSense, which is the latest release 2.0. That's running the i386 flavour, and I mean, it's doing the usual stuff that you expect pfSense to do. It's a gateway, it's the firewall. But I've also installed the Snort and PF Blocker packages on there right now. I'm not too sure what else I'm going to do. I'm looking at the VPN side with OpenVPN, but I'm just still thinking of that. And that's currently running with 2 gig of RAM. So those two main boxes, and if we go downwards, hopefully the light will be bright enough for this. But this slim server you can see there, the one use server, and that's the Supermicro X6DHR-TG. That is running two dual Xeons. For the life of me, I couldn't find which actual model they were. I didn't want to really open up the box, but they're both 3.2 gigahertz 64-bit jobs. And it's also got two built-in Intel gigabit NICs. I'm not too sure which models those are as well. I've also thrown in there an AMC 3-ware 9500S 4LP RAID card. I've just upgraded that from 128 meg to 256. It uses the old PC133 SODIMM memory modules, and you know, I don't want to pay about £20 for a 512 meg. You know, that I've seen on eBay recently. So I did have a 512 which I tried, but I think it must have been broken. I didn't really like it at all. And that box has got 8 gig of RAM. It's got four 320 gig SATA drives. They're in RAID 5 with a 500 watt PSU. And at the moment, that's all that is running is 2008 R2, and that's got DFS as well, and it's also running iDrive at night just to back up my data off site. So essentially, the DFS, I mean, between the 3 boxes, what I tend to do with my system here is set up a corporate network. So, for instance, it's your Windows profile, your documents folder, and kind of file server shares, and they're all replicating around. And ultimately, at this moment, this Supermicro is like, say, the backup of everything. Everything eventually ends up here, which then gets pushed out via iDrive. I'm still struggling with getting a decent solution for backing up my VMs. I'm starting to think now maybe I should just go for a disk-based backup, something like Backup Exec, where I can just at least back up the AD or the files, things like that. But I have lots of mini projects going on in my mind right now, so I start on something, I hit a roadblock for quite a while, then I'll have a break, think of something else, come up with something else, and I'll revisit it again at some point. Down here is my UPS. It's a SmartUps 3000. As I mentioned before, it's a bit of overkill, but now it's a bit of a tamed beast. I ran a calibration or battery check on this a little while ago, and my batteries dropped down from, I think it was like 50 minutes runtime to about 20. So I've got to think about replacing the batteries in that at some point. It's going to be about 140 quid, but yeah, I'll figure something out for that later on. Moving up is the gigabit switch I've talked about in the past. It's exactly the same as before. It's a D-Link Web Smart switch. It's a DGS 1210 24 port. I'll just quickly go over it again. It's a green switch, so basically if a port is in a powered down state, or if it's if a port is not in use, the switch will cut off or reduce power to that port, so hopefully you're saving a bit of electricity. I'll come back to about saving electricity a bit later on, because I'm still thinking of that. Still got the empty shelf there, not planning to put anything in there. The back onto the desk, a bit more dirtier or untidier than previously. As we can see, just on the bottom there, that's my box standard Belkin 4-port KVM. Does the job, it's fine. I don't need OSM or anything like that. And then this is the Proventia M10, which is exactly the same as before. It's essentially, it's got an i386 CPU in there, which I upgraded from a Celeron to a 1.26 gigahertz CPU, non-Celeron. It's got 512 meg of RAM, and it's also got a 20 gigabyte IDE type hard drive in there, which has got pfSense running on that. That's my backup pfSense. It's also got 3 10100 built-in Intel NIC ports in there, and it works perfect. This is my backup because, as mentioned before, my main pfSense is running on a VM right now. But as I've mentioned, if you ever want to put the VM host into maintenance mode for updates or whatever, or if it fails, this is my fallback position. So all you need to do is just pull the one cable out the back of the VM host, which is the main WAN cable, and plug it into this, switch it on, and it runs up. I'm using the same IP address, so there's no change or reconfiguration needed at all, and it works perfect. can't be too sure what the wattage of the PSU is on this because it's a big box behind it. I don't know if I can show you there. There it is. It's one of these external power supply units. I think it's about 30 watts. So there is my regular 19-inch monitor, and still got this kit here that's got no home to go to. It's a 16-port 10100 Ethernet switch, nice little tiny box, and then there's a 4-port KVM there. So this is the kit that basically serves only 2 people in our house. I work in IT, but this is how I do a lot of my own research and my own training. The WAN connection, which goes out from the PF Sense, which goes from the Broadcom card at the back of the Dell on the right, it actually plugs into a Netgear WNR3500U router, which I've reflashed with DDWRT. And to show my trust in PF Sense, that cable is plugged into the DMZ port of that router, and also I've patched through a access point as well, which is in the lounge because I don't really do much Wi-Fi stuff in the bedroom. So that's really it. You know what, I'm sure I've missed something else out again, but you might be able to hear a bit more noise in this video. I'm not too sure. I've actually added a couple of more fans in the 2 Dells because I ran an application called Speed Fan, which basically tells you, how hot your system is, how hot your CPU, your RAM, and stuff like that. Also, how fast your fans are going. My memory stick, my RAM, it's between 58 and 65 degrees. Even though there's a fan on them already, like blowing out on top of them, I think it's blowing on top, or it's either sucking the air off them. They're still very hot, so I threw a couple of fans in the back, hopefully drawing more air out, but it's not really worked. So I think I need to reposition the fans maybe, or think of something else. I'm not too sure. One other thing I forgot to show with helping with some ventilation is this little unit here. This is actually another fan. It's a 9cm fan that came out of a compact desktop with the kind of housing, and I've just hooked it up to a USB cable, which is now plugged into the VM Dell PC or Dell workstation via USB port. My big plan was that little box down there. It's £30 wasted. I bought 2 solar panels. Well, because they're on special offer. I only thought I needed 1, and when I hooked everything up for a test to the fan at the back on the right there, it did work when I put the solar panel in the window, which is over there. I know it's dark now, but because we do get an awful lot of sun through there, but sadly I actually had to flick the fan to actually get it going. So even though I thought those were strong enough, and obviously my calculations were a bit out of whack. So still thinking about other ventilation things. Don't know what else I can do. I don't really want to load up all my USB ports or put loads of fans that are drawing electricity, because my big thing is to reduce power. I'm still toying with the idea of maybe getting rid of one of these Dells and just putting everything onto say the one on the right, but I don't know, I'm just still thinking about it. But anyhow, I hope you like it. Again, comments, questions, give us a shout. I'll do my best to answer you again. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Bye bye.